Hello, in this video we're going to look at the Flame Connector for NIM. We'll walk through the different options available and see how you can use NIM to keep your comps and your timeline up to date. By right-clicking on a clip, we see that we have multiple options available to us. There's NIM Export Clip to Daily, NIM Export Clip to Edit, NIM Publish Sequence, NIM Update OpenClips, which includes Scan for Versions, Build OpenClip from Elements, and Build OpenClip from Project, as well as NIM Settings where you can change your user. First, let's take a look at NIM Publish Sequence. I've got a clip, and I have opened it on the timeline. You'll notice that I'm working in Flare, but this will work in Flame as well. The first thing I want to do is make sure that I've named all of my shots. So in my timeline here, I can see I've got my clip name as well as my shot name. My shot name is SH01. For each shot, I've got SH02, and so on. NIM uses the Flame shot name to name the shots in NIM. You can rename your shots by right-clicking on your clips and using the Rename Shot menu option. Here we've given it the pattern sh_ with the segment name. We're going to rename this to op and hit Rename Shot. You'll see our clip names have stayed the same, but we have appended a shot name to each of our shots. Now we can go up to the clip and right-click and select NIM Publish Sequence. Here you'll be presented with a dialog to choose options for an export preset, the job, server, and show you wish to export your shots to, as well as to assign NIM element types to each of the different exports. Here we can see we've got an empty show that we've created with no shots currently generated. Here, I'll choose my export preset. You can create an export preset from the standard Flame export panel. Simply set up your preset and choose to save it. From there, you'll want to copy that preset to the NIM Flame Connector preset folder. The NIM connector recognizes NIM keywords in export presets. You can use these keywords to direct your files to special locations within the NIM project structure. In a minute, we'll take a look at creating a new preset, but first let's export our sequence. We've got our standard export preset. We've selected our job, the server that we're going to write the files to, and our show. When we do an export, depending upon your preset, you'll have options to export video elements, audio elements, source OpenClips, as well as batch OpenClips. I'm going to associate my video with plates. I'm going to associate audio with audio. I'm going to set up my source OpenClips to be associated with renders, and my batch OpenClips to be associated with comps. I'm also going to associate the batch files that are exported to be associated with Flame tasks. And now I'm going to click Export. By creating those associations with NIM elements, we're able to dynamically update those OpenClips with matching element types. Once the export is complete, we'll see we have a new clip that contains our published elements. If I go ahead and open this, we'll see we have our original track, as well as a new track that points to our exported files. If we look in NIM and I refresh our sequence, we can see that all the shots have been exported with frame count information. Clicking on an individual shot and inspecting the elements, we can see that the Flame Connector logged all of the export elements to the shot, matching with their associated element types. We've got our video track where we exported JPEGs. We have our source OpenClip, which is used in batchFX, and then we have our batch OpenClip, which is used in versioning. If we look at files, we'll see that the NIM connector logged the first batch file as part of the versioning system into NIM. Looking at our file system, we can also see that NIM created the shots as well as exported all the associated Flame files to the project structure based on the template we defined. If you're using versioning from the timeline, we can click on a clip and create new version. Here we'll introduce a simple color correction and make a change. When we click return, we'll be asked to enter a comment for this version. I'm going to say this one is red. Once the version is rendered, we'll be returned to the timeline. Now inside our clip, we can see that we have our original version, as well as the version we just made. I'm going to go ahead and mark that as viewed. Now, since we use an export preset that used NIM keywords, all of the renders are actually going to be put in the appropriate location based off of the NIM project structure. We can also see that that version of the batch was logged. This one is red. And by looking at the elements, the latest version of the comp was also logged. Let's say we have a new comp that's coming from one of the artists on your team. And that comp is being logged into NIM as a matching element type for your batch OpenClip. We can go into Flame and right-click on our publish timeline, and we want to update OpenClips, and I'm going to tell it to scan for versions. What this is going to do is match all elements logged with the same element type as the OpenClips. And here we're going to scan for versions. We found one new version. I'm going to click OK. Now, looking at our version, we can see that we've got our original as well as our new comp. Now this works great if you're working with timeline versioning, but if you're using batchFX, it works slightly differently. Here I'm going to promote shot 2 to batchFX, and we see our source clip here. If we double click on it, we can see that we only have 0 versions, which is just the original media. Now let's say for shot 2 we have a render that we want to bring into the input of our comp. Inside Flame, once again, we can right click on our sequence and choose scan for versions. See that we have one new version found. Going to go ahead and reset our clip to update our versions. And here we could see we have our render as well as our original source media. So now we have our new clip on the timeline that was brought in through batchFX, and we also have our new clip that was brought in using timeline versioning. Now in the case that you didn't start a project by exporting a sequence, we have the option to scan NIM or the project structure and build OpenClips from either elements or files that are within NIM project structure known folders. To do this, we click on our clip and choose NIM Update OpenClips. We have two options, Build OpenClip from Elements and Build OpenClip from Projects. Build OpenClip from Elements will look at each shot, look at all of the logged elements, and create OpenClips for each element that has a matching element type. If you don't have any elements logged into NIM, but are using a NIM project structure, you can still use Build OpenClip from Project. This will scan the Plates, Comps, and Renders folder and create OpenClips for all files found in those directories. Here I'm going to choose Build OpenClip from Elements. We pick our job, the server to scan, as well as our show, and I'm going to hit Scan for Versions. During this process, NIM is reading each shot, looking at all the element types, reading the media if it exists on disk, and creating a consolidated OpenClip including all the different versions. Here we can see we found 16 new versions. Looking at our file structure, we can see now that we have a OpenClip for shot 2 with NIM element plates and another one for NIM element renders. Now these clips currently do not automatically get brought into Flame, but we can go into Batch and grab a read file node and directly load the OpenClip. Here we can see the two versions that exist in the clip. OpenClips will be made for all element types that are supported. Now conversely, if we don't have any of our renders or comps logged as elements into NIM, but we did build a project using the NIM project structure, we can say Build OpenClip from Project. This will essentially do the same thing, but instead of reading NIM to find the files, it'll traverse the project structure using the known locations. Here we can see we found 27 new versions. And if we look at our project structure, in addition to the NIM element clips that we made before, we now have ones that are simply named based off of the folders. If new comps or renders are written to the project structure or logged as NIM elements, and you want to update your clips, you simply go back to NIM Update OpenClips and choose either Build OpenClips from Elements or Build OpenClips from Projects as needed. This will update all existing OpenClips and create new clips where needed. Now going back to our timeline, if we want to export this sequence as an edit to NIM, we can click on our clip and choose NIM Export Clip to Edit. Here again, we've got an export preset that you can define. Choose our job, our server, and our show, and we'll hit export. Once the QuickTime is built, it'll be directly uploaded to NIM. Now that the export's complete, we can look at the edit section on our show and review the QuickTime. And as always, we can whiteboard directly on the frame and save any comments. If we had a specific shot that we were working on and we wanted to upload a dailies for that task, we can click on the clip of the shot and we can export straight to a daily. This will use the same settings as exporting to an edit, although you can have an individual daily preset, as well as the ability to choose your shot as well as your task. Now each of the exports, including export clip to daily, to edit, as well as our NIM publish sequence, uses a list of export presets. These can be generated directly from the Flame standard export panel. When creating an export for a sequence, we choose Sequence Publish, and I'm going to choose a preset that I've already created with our keywords. I'm going to show our advanced options. If I go to Video Options, on our video output, you'll see that we have a keyword for NIM shot plates. As well as under our clip options, we have keywords for our NIM shot route, as well as our NIM shot comp location. If we want to create a new structure to be used in the NIM export panel, we could simply save this structure. I'm going to save it to a shared location and hit save. Now within the file system, I'm going to go to Opt Autodesk Shared Export Presets. I'm going to go to Sequence Publish, and I can see all of the templates that I've saved. If I want to include this in NIM, I can add it to the connector itself by going to the NIM connector root, Plugins, Flame, Presets, Sequence folder. I can go ahead and copy this here. That preset will now be available to you within the export dialog. This is true for both export clip to daily as well as export clip to edit. Templates for each exist in their respective folders. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please contact us at support@nimlabs.com or visit our support forum at support.nim-labs.com. Thank you.